Okay guys, welcome back to class. Today is week 7, day 1. We're going to be talking about something magical today. I'm just kidding. We're not building anything magical, we're building a to-do list. And in order to build this to-do list, we're going to use some of the things that we've learned this week. These things include Python and SQL. Certain apps, it's actually quite difficult for us to deploy to show you guys, so sorry about that. You guys can't test this one yourselves, but I'm going to demo to you right now what the app does, okay? So in the command line, I haven't found the tool yet, so I can show you this app that I'm about to show you right now. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so anyway. So on the terminal, you guys have to be able to type in Python and then the name of a file that has Python code inside of it, okay? I have a couple of more advanced features, but you can see that whenever we open the app, that the user's name is, the user's prompted to give their name. And then afterwards, we have like a table that, gives a list of things that a user can do. Afterwards, we simply wait for an input. So right now, I'm gonna go with L for list all to-dos. And I type in L and hit enter. And you guys can see that now we have all our list of to-dos. So for example, my 8th one right now is demonstrate for Sierra, and my to-do is complete, or incomplete. So let's go ahead and make it complete. So the shortcut I have for completing a to-do is called do a to-do. So I'm gonna type in D, and then I'll give it an ID right here, for example, 8. And then we'll hit 8, and when you guys see that I hit enter, you guys will see that incomplete toggles. It becomes complete. And is that the behavior we observe? Right? Any questions so far?
So you set the rules before you build your database?
Yes, we got to set some rules. Yeah. We're going to do that just in a moment. Okay, is the objective clear? We would need to be able to remove, add everything with to-dos, okay? So for example, what's another thing we can do? One more time. Let's add a to-do. So we'll add one, and we'll say demonstrate adding a to-do for Sierra. And well, this is an additional step for the more advanced features once you guys get the to-dos figured out, but I have a project ID associated with the to-do. Now if you hit 1, you guys can see that we've created a new to-do, demonstrate adding a to-do for Sierra. It is incomplete by default. I'm gonna go ahead and remove it just for balance, I guess. So now it's gonna ask us to remove a to-do, right? I'm gonna go ahead and remove demonstrate for to-do for Sierra, okay? Because it's complete. So we'll give it an ID of 8. And now you can see that the ID of 8 is no longer there.
Could you also put name equal to, and then would it work?
What the name? To remove a to-do by?
You want to go where name is equal to set in the table string.
That's possible.
Yeah.
You guys have to feel creative, man. You guys can build anything. All you gotta do is know a little bit of code. Doesn't seem that difficult, right? Okay, so that's the app. Let's go ahead and build one now. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is create a new directory. I'm going to call it P for Python, to-do list, again. I'm going to move into it, to-do list, again. Now we need to do an additional command. This is a command that sets up our environment, our working environment. You know how back in the day, week 2, week 1, we had to run git init to like set up a folder and say like, hey, this is a project, we're gonna set this up. We're gonna need to do that along with a couple other commands, okay? So we're gonna run, I don't remember the command, I never remember the command. This one. And I want you guys all to have notepads where you write down commands you guys don't remember. Sometimes, what the fuck's that? Okay, this is the command right here. This is the basically telling Python to set up this project as a Python project, and it's going to give you access to some libraries. You know how in NPM we had to run a couple commands sometimes to get access to a library, right? We need to copy the files and etc. This is pretty much the same thing, except for a Python application. Okay? It's called a virtual environment. Instead of using, it's just like certain like responsibilities between frameworks, they overlap, so it's hard to make every comparison exactly the same, right? Does that make sense, everyone? So just know that this right now is like we're kind of setting up our ability to use libraries inside of Python. So when I run this command, everything should start spinning for a little while, and then we should have a new folder in here, right? If we open up our code editor, we can see that we do in fact have this folder. And inside of here are all the libraries, okay? You guys should not be touching these. You guys should not be touching these, okay? Anyway, it's gonna give you some free Python code. Think of it that way. So now I'm just gonna create a new file. I'm gonna create a new file. I'm gonna call it todos.py. And then you guys can see the file shows up. And let's just start small, okay? I'm gonna do print hello world. Okay, so if I run Python todos.py, we see hello world. So we've been able to execute some Python code. Now we need to do some additional steps. We need to import 3 libraries. Oops. This is just like NPM. Remember how in React, we'd have to import certain libraries for consumption inside of each file to have access to those variables? We're doing the same thing now. The reason why we do that across all file systems, all frameworks, is because we don't want our variables to clash all the time. Sometimes they do that. They'll clash with one another. You guys have run into those problems already. You know, I know I have. Pretty sure you guys have. There's one additional thing I'm gonna copy paste over. What I've copied and pasted over, you guys can find this in the documentation of SQLite. SQLite is the library that we're importing on line 2, okay? But just know that this command is going to create a file for us in our folder, our working folder. It will create one momentarily when we run this file, okay? But this right here, my bad, I kind of just glazed over it. Basically, this command on the right that we get from OS, which means operating system, this is just gonna help us figure out where to save this file. Okay? There's a million folders on your computer. Where should this file be saved? And this on the right assignment of line 5 is trying to say, where am I at right now? It's just a library that says that. Where am I at right now? And it's going to create the second argument right here, a file by this name in just a moment. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, now we're setting up our database connection right now. I'm sorry, there's a lot of boilerplate code, guys. The first time this happens, but don't worry. After this boilerplate code, like you guys can just copy and paste this code over, and then the real magic comes in a second whenever we start defining functions. Okay. So right now we're defining a variable called con, which means connection. Okay, this is our connection to our SQL database. On the very next line, inside of our connection to our database, we call a method inside of that connection dictionary, and we get access to this thing called cur. Cur is like a worker. It means cursor. It just means that it's the worker that goes between your application and our database, and it just does work back and forth. Okay. Okay, so now we're gonna create a database. So we're gonna say SQL is equal to, and we're gonna write some SQL here. We're gonna say create if not exists to-dos. Each to-do will have an ID, and that's gonna be an integer. Integer. I feel like I'm gonna forget something. Oh yeah, we're gonna call it primary key. Once again, this is stuff that you guys, when you guys read the documentation, you guys are gonna have to figure this out. So there's a whole bunch of different types of data, right? But we're just gonna go with body right now. Body, and we're gonna call this one text, and we're gonna say that it cannot be null. Okay. Did something wrong here. Python to-dos.py. So let's just run this file. And you guys will see that we ran this file, what we got created. Yeah. If you guys try to open up this file, you guys cannot look at it, okay? This file is only built for a database to read it. Like no application that is built for us human beings can read this correctly, okay? So anyway, this is where our data is. And I want you guys all need to download a plugin in a second. It's called SQL. If you open up your extensions tab in VS Code, MySQL. SQLite. Okay, SQLite. We're gonna be using this just in a moment, just so that you guys can help, so that you guys can like look at your database. Okay. Actually, I'm gonna use it right now. So we're gonna go ahead and run Command-Shift-P, and now I'm gonna say SQLite open database. See up there where it says open database? Yeah. So we're gonna hit that, and then we're gonna choose that file that was just created. Now if we open up our bookmarks or our file explorer, you guys will see here on the left that we have a new tab that we can click. We click this tab, and you guys can see that it opens up a new pane, this pane down here. And in this pane, we can select a database. So we'll right click it. My bad. And then we'll hit play. Oops. Play. I'm expecting to see. Oh, okay. Now I know why. So in our database, this is where we can see all our tables right here. The reason why we do not yet see a to-dos table is because we have not yet executed this code. So now we need to do something. Cursor dot execute. Yeah, execute SQL. So basically, we're passing the SQL string in as the first argument. Okay. Inside of cursor, there is a function inside of that dictionary that's called under the key execute. It's hidden in there. We call execute, right? And then we pass it that string. And the very next thing we need to do is do connection dot commit. This will commit our whatever we write to the database. So my hypothesis is if I run Python to-dos.py, we will see a new table appear down here if this works correctly. Okay, looks like I did something wrong. Create if not exists. My syntax wrong. Ah, yeah, my bad. Create table. Damn it. Thank you. Okay. All right, so we're gonna do this again. Python to-dos.py. We want to have a table produced here in our SQL database. Why isn't it made? The hell? Oh, thank you, Kwa. Sometimes you gotta refresh it. I thought if I just do this one again, it'd work. Okay, so now you guys can see that we have our to-dos in here, and this little table here is gonna give us our little a little preview of the structure of our database. Okay. All right, so there you go. We built our to-do list. Except we haven't. We haven't been able to create to-dos, add to-dos. We've only set up the database. So now we got to figure out a way to create an application that will manipulate our database. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to do if main. Oops. Okay. Obviously, there's a shortcut. I didn't learn this one yet. If name. I'm not using that correctly. Whatever. So this is basically the function right here. You guys can find it in your snippets. So this is just basically a syntax from Python where it just says run the main application, okay? We're gonna have to write this in all our Python applications. So now yeah? So now we can do something called try and catch. Does that look familiar to you guys? It's for catching errors. If the user does something wrong, to be honest with you, you don't even need this because I'm going to show you how to do it as a REPL application. I think it's more sexy in my opinion. In the instructions, you guys will see that we can run all, do everything like Python todos.py list. You know, write the commands from here. But I updated it, remember, so that we can do it this way. So it just constantly sits there and waits for us to do something. Okay, does that make sense? You see how the application is running right now? We can type in L to see all of our to-dos, and you know, we can just do all types of stuff. But in any case, right now, we're just gonna do a try catch because we want to make sure that if there's an error caught, that we prompt the user. So we're gonna say error. But inside of here, in order to get the loop to occur, I'm gonna do while true, and just keep doing the same thing. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna say, hey, hi, what's up? We're just gonna prove that this works correctly. Oops. While true. Why doesn't this work? Try catch. Not catch the error. Try catch Python. Try accept, my bad. Try accept. Oops, my bad. Okay, there you go. So just constantly printing the same thing. You know, it's just super fast. But we don't want to do that. So we're going to capture an input. So right now we're just going to say, what's up? And then we're just going to, first let's focus on adding a to-do, okay? So we're going to say body is equal to choice. No, we got to figure out what the user wants first. When the app first loads, we got to figure out what the user wants to do. So we're going to prompt the user and say, hey, what do you want to do? And then we're going to capture that choice. And then we're going to do if choice is equal to something. We're going to do something. Okay? You have any questions so far?
Choice is the name of the variable, right?
Something? Yeah, choice is going to be the name of our variable that we get from our user. We ask the user what they want to do, and they're going to tell us what they want to do. And then depending on what they tell us, we're going to decide to do something different. Okay? So let's do something really stupid first. Okay? Let's write this function, do something. Let's go ahead and define it. So we define, that's spell this right. So we're going to define do something, and then we're going to add something to our database. Okay? So what do we do here? Well, a second ago we were able to write some SQL, and then we were able to execute that SQL. Right? So let's go ahead and copy the example. We paste it, but we need to do something different here. We need to write some other SQL. So what is the SQL we're going to write? Insert into to-dos, body, yep. Okay. Values. Fuck, I don't know how to do this. Values. I'm gonna go this one. I think this one's gonna work. So now, how can we get the values to be inserted into the string dynamically? This is where those Python exercises help you guys. Okay, we need to get this question in here. You know, the value inserted into the string dynamically. So we're gonna put it in right here. We're gonna say demo for Sierra. Okay. All right. So when we run Python todos.py, we do some setup work. We open up a connection to our database. We create a table if it does not exist. We define one method. And actually, I realize this is outside. We need to put that inside of this block right here. Okay, yeah. So we define a method that will also do something. What will this do, guys?
We'll insert question mark into body, right?
What'd you say?
We'll insert question mark into body.
No, this do something method right here, this do something function is gonna do some code. And what's this code gonna ultimately result in? Yeah, if everything went correctly, it should add a to-do to our database, and we should be able to see it right here. There's a loop going on. I kind of jumped over that. There's a loop going on. This is constantly going to ask the user what they want. We look at their input. If they say something, then we'll do something. Okay? So I'm going to type in something. And now we can see that we threw an error. There's something wrong here. Fuck. I always forget how to do this one. And then, fuck me. I think I need to. Come on, baby. What is wrong with this code? I don't see a lint problem. I'm about to Google SQL, SQLite, Python. Insert. Just look at my example. Into to-dos, values. Why doesn't that work? Insert into to-dos, values. Why doesn't this work? What the fuck? Insert into to-dos, body, question mark. That's confusing. What the fuck? Something. Why is there an error? Alright guys, we're troubleshooting. So let's go ahead and do a quick query. Let's insert, we'll choose our file, and we're gonna say insert into to-dos, body, values, hello world. And I do that right. Oops. Insert into to-dos, values. Oh, man, I did that wrong. Okay, that's right. Body, values. Hello? Please work. So we're gonna do quick query. This is a tool that's gonna allow us to manipulate our table here, our SQL database, using raw SQL. And then we're gonna type in the name of the database, and then we're gonna paste in our SQL command. Okay, so it ran. Hold on, did that throw an error? Let's do it one more time. Okay, so we ran it. I don't see an error, so I think it ran successfully. What did you say, Juan? Ah, there we go. So we were able to insert data into our SQL database using VS Code and this little SQL plugin. So now we gotta figure out what's wrong with this SQL right here. Oh, that not. Oh, I gotta put a parentheses on this. Oh. Hold on. Is there? Oh, because I did my syntax wrong. Then I should be right here. I'm not supposed to have this right here. Where? Right here? I don't think that matters. Let's try it again. Something? Fuck. Okay, I think it doesn't matter. I think it's this tuple thing. Something. This one. Something. Fuck me. Something. I'm going to throw away this try catch because I want to see the error at this point. I want to see this. I want to see what it says. Something. Something is not defined. Where did we type in something? Why does it say something is not defined? Python line 34. Why does it? Something. Why is this right here complaining? Something is not defined. News. Choice. I gotta make this a string, you're saying? It should already be a string. What else could it be?
Without a space.
Without a space, it's a string?
If you have a space, you have to add the quotation. No, I mean in the terminal.
Hold on one second.
Okay, yeah.
Let's think about this. What am I doing wrong here? I'm sorry, guys. What the hell? Just get the input. Okay, let's just print it. Okay, let's just see. Blah, 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 blah. Choice. Please work. Something. Name something is not defined. Yes. It's not accepting my input. Why the fuck is it not accepting this input? User input. Python source. Python. Okay, so we're gonna pip install term color. Okay, my bad. Guys, I forgot to set up our environment. There's one other command, okay? There's one other command that we also need to do to get everything to execute well, okay? So after we did the step where we did, what was it? Where we did the virtual environment right here on line 3, where we get that one file. Remember this step right here where we got this file this folder right here? I forgot to run one other command. I'm so sorry, okay? The command below it just basically says, hey, I get this folder that has a whole bunch of libraries. Please give me all of those files and access to all those methods. Line 4 right here, source. I need to source all my files. That gives me some magical Python, okay? My bad. Once you do that,
run source internal.
Yeah, you just run it source. This is the command right here. You run the source. You name the folder, bin activate. It basically gives you superpowers inside of your Python application. When you guys do that, you guys will see this thing on the left. It calls VNV. It means virtual environment. It's like putting on shoes to go to work or something. It's something you have to do with Python. Sometimes. I don't know. There might be other systems in which you don't need to do this. All right. So now we don't see that going away. Let's go ahead and Command Z, all the stuff that we undid, and I think this will work. So now we're gonna run Python todos.py. It's gonna ask us what we want to do. We're gonna say something. And now we can see that we have a different problem. Okay, we moved on from the original problem right here. It says that we have a SQLite problem. That means that our SQL is not correct. So this is my hypothesis that that's what it is. So we want to do something. This doesn't work either. What the hell? The current statement uses 1 and there are 15 supplied. Something. man. Does that work?
Because you always bring error.
Okay, there we go. That's nerve-wracking, guys. Oh yeah, exactly what Quad just said. The reason why we're seeing error right there is because we're constantly printing error. I forgot to undo this part. Okay, so let's start over, and let's go ahead and delete this file. We're gonna go ahead and delete our database, which is super easy. All you gotta do is just delete this file right here that we created, and we'll start over. Okay. All right, so it's deleted. We're gonna run Python todos.py. Come on, are you kidding me? What? Okay, something, and then it loops back again, and it shows us what the request. Okay. Now, if I hit play, what do you guys expect to see happen? Right here. If I hit play right here to look at our database, what do we expect to see happen, guys? Exactly. We have a new table because we deleted that database, and then we only have one to do in it because we demoed for Sierra. Okay, but are we gonna hard code an input there? No, we're gonna prompt the user. We're gonna ask him for something. Okay, and we're gonna call it do something. No, we're gonna call it add. Right, and if our choice is add, then we do that. But let's go ahead and move to the next one. Let's list. I think list would be pretty reasonable, right? So we're going to define a function. If the choice is list, then we're going to fire a function called list right here. And this list will simply look at our database and show it, right? Because you see what we have right here? This is not usable by a human. I don't know whether or not I successfully added to do. As soon as I add one, I need to prompt the user and tell them, hey, you successfully added one, and then show them the result of their input. So we're going to say, hey, define a function called list, and this is also going to generate we're going to need some SQL in here because we're about to be reaching into our SQL database. Okay, we're going to reach in there and grab some stuff out. So you're going to say select all from to-dos, and then we're going to cursor.execute SQL. And then now I think we need to do fetch all. I think it's cursor.fetch all. And that gives us something called results, pretty sure. Let's go ahead and look at it just to make sure. Results. Okay, we'll stop our server and start it again, or our REPL application. And the thing we're looking for is list, okay? We're gonna do list. Okay, so you guys can see that it gave us one to do inside of here, okay? Gave us one to do, but we want to have all of them. So let's go ahead and add one, okay? And then we're gonna say demo that we can add. Okay, so now if we type in list, what should we see inside of this thing right here? Okay, but the most recent one should say something a little bit different, right?
Oh, really? Did you change the input?
Yeah, demo that we can add. Yeah. And now you can see that we have an array that has two objects.
Exactly what I thought it would show.
Oh, my bad. Shit, my bad. You're right. So, okay, well, yeah. So we didn't actually do enough in our ad right now, okay? So let's go ahead and do that right now. My bad. So inside of our ad, we're just gonna say we're gonna prompt the user. We're gonna say what would you like to do? Okay, and then we're just gonna input that. We're gonna say body is equal to input. We're gonna take that body and we're just gonna stick it in here. My bad, guys. It's one thing that we haven't talked about in this class yet, specifically with you guys. Python has a different data type called a tuple. It's like an array. It's like an array, except you cannot remove and add items from it. Okay? That seems really inconvenient, but just know that there's a reason why we do that. It's to make our applications run faster. And in this one situation right here, where we do this in our project this weekend, okay? When we do cursor.execute, the second argument has to be a tuple, Okay, so right now this is a tuple, and you can tell that it's a tuple by the parentheses and this comma at the end. But if we give it a second argument, it's now an array. Okay, it's a stupid, crazy rule. You guys are all gonna mess this up. Whatever. I'm telling you right now, and we're all gonna mess this up, but it's all good. Okay, so we're gonna stop our file. We're gonna run it again. We're gonna say I want to add. We're gonna say add talk about tuple. And then we're gonna list. Oops, we're gonna list. And we can now see that our last to do says we talked about a tuple. Okay? Do you have any questions so far, guys? Okay, so at this point, I think it would be good to format our output. And I hope I can do this correctly. I'm not sure if I will. I'm actually just gonna look at how I did it before. I don't think about it. Tabulate results. Okay, there we go. Okay, so this is how we do it. So when we list, we're gonna use this library called tabulate. What? Did I not import it?
Did you? When you have one, you imported it, so you will have to.
Fuck, I gotta import this. Okay, so sometimes I think it's good to like give you guys a lot to import.
How do you like know that? Like, is that like a built-in library?
Googled it. Yeah, you just Google for like table, Python command line table. I Googled it. I did some research. That's why I'm the technical lead, because I'm ahead of you guys. Okay, and one day when you guys get good at researching, you guys will be the technical lead. I'm not bragging. I'm just trying to say that like that's a part of the responsibilities of any technical lead, to research technologies to make everyone's job better, easier, to tell other people like, hey, this is probably the easiest way, and to show solutions. Okay, so right now we're gonna freeze this, and then we're gonna run pip install tabulate. So we're installing a library, we're getting it from the internet. Now we're gonna use this library in just a moment to make our application a little bit sexier. So inside of our list function that we call when the user wants to look at their to-dos, we're gonna call tabulate. We're gonna pass it the results as the first argument. And then we're gonna pass it a second argument where it's headers. And headers is gonna be an array with a list of strings in order, in sequential order from left to right. So let's just do ID and then body to see what happens. Okay? So we're gonna run this command again. Python todos.py. Oops, my bad, this needs to be wrapped. Okay, we're gonna run this command again. And we're gonna say list. Oops, list. And I did this wrong. Fuck. Results. Okay, I didn't print it. I didn't print it. My bad. Come on. List. There you go. So you kind of got a pretty little table. Obviously, if you start introducing, you can have another, table format argument that we send in, and that's the third argument. Sorry, guys. I think this is how it works. So we're gonna try it again, and I did this wrong. Okay, I think that works. So we're gonna say list, and now you guys can see that this gave us lines on the outside. Okay. Obviously, we can do a bunch of them. Okay, we're gonna do project ID, user ID, difficulty. I don't know. If we run this command again, type in list, you guys can see. Oh my bad, it's because it does not have those tables, but you will. The reason why this will work when our results has those keys. Exactly. Yeah. So so SQLite and VS Code, let me give you guys a heads up right now. It has limitations. Okay, we cannot add and remove columns easily using this tool. Later on, when we use a more sophisticated version, a more sophisticated tool, a real tool for these types of queries that manages real databases, we're gonna have a different type of tool. But when you guys need to manipulate your database, so like what you guys just see me try to do right there, guys. I tried to print out body, project ID, user ID, but the reality is that our table does not support those attributes. It does not have those fields, right? So right now, the only solution if we want to use this tool, is to delete this table right now, go back here to where we define it, and then enter the appropriate values. Okay? That makes sense, everyone? Right? We delete the database, and then we enter the appropriate values when we're creating it. So
you could have gone on the particular command if exists or if not exists, create.
We have to delete the database because we can't manipulate the fields on it.
It doesn't let you.
This tool is limited. It cannot let us do that. Just know that, like, later on we can do that later on, but right now it's limited. So right now we're just going to add a new integer primary key right here, so we have a project ID. Let's just go ahead and do the same thing for user ID. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and close this tool. Make sure we refresh everything. We run python's todos.py, and we can see that we threw an error. Say again?
3 primary keys.
Oh, my bad. This should be foreign key. But whatever, we're just gonna leave it right there right now. Okay, so you're right. So now we hit play, and we're gonna see that our database is clean again, okay? So now let's go ahead and add one. We'll say talk about SQL. And then we're gonna say add another to do. We'll say talk about Python. Now we're gonna list them. So now we have our to-dos, and our to-dos have a project ID and a user ID. Okay, guys? Okay, so let me show you one more library. It's called Color. Colored. Yep. So we're gonna import a library called Colored. Am I in the right place?
What's file? You import file.
That is a library that allows us to do it like you guys see it in the GIF. Okay. But I decided I didn't like that app too much, and I want to build a sexier app. And this app right here, you guys can see that like the app works from the command line. You type in a command, the command issues, and then it's done. It's just you have to type another command again. I didn't like that. After thinking about it, I wanted you guys to make one that was just constantly sitting there and waiting, like a real application, right? Do you see how whenever we type in Python right here, it will execute, and then the process will exit. Okay, we're gonna make it a loop, and we're gonna make sure that it just constantly runs, and we can do all types of stuff. Okay, so where am I at? Let me show you one more thing. We're gonna do colored right here. Inside of colored, we can also enter. So basically, just know that if we have some text, right? If we have some text right here, like we do on line 53, we can change that text's color by calling the function called colored and passing that the text. Green, okay? And then we're gonna pass it green here. I think that's how it works. I always forget. I'm sorry, guys. Don't hate me. Yep, that's how it works. Okay, we just pass it. Like we call the function colored. The first argument is the text that we want to change, and the second argument is the color that we want to change it. So we exit this process, and we run it. It's going to complain that it does not have the library. So we do Python todos.py, and it's complaining we don't have this library called colored because we just copied and pasted the import statement in. We have not yet collected the files necessary to run this library. So we'll do pip install colored. Now, if we run python.todos.py, the complaint will go away, and you guys will see that it asks us what we want to do in white, and then below that we have a line that is in green, that is the word green. And do we observe that behavior? Yes, we do. Okay, so I hope by showing you guys these two conditionals combined with a loop on the two conditionals on line 57 through 59, as well as a loop on line 51, how we can get a really interactive web application, or not, my bad, this isn't a web application, okay? This is a command line application, a really sexy interactive command line application. And specifically, this is called REPL. Remember that, guys? REPL, read, evaluate, print, loop. Read, evaluate, print, loop. That's why that website exists, because this is a common thing across all programming mediums, that you need to have a process that sits there and waits for commands. Okay? Does that make sense, everyone? Do we have any questions so far?
So
I mean, so can you make it work for both of them? Go ahead and use follow instructions. Make it work from the command line and make it work that you can do it interactively. Can you do that? It's twice as much work. Choose which one you guys like. After I did it from the command line, I thought it was kind of boring. You know, I wanted it to be more fun.
This feels like more like a game. Like old school game.
Yeah.
No, I thought it was interesting. Like the first one, the demo that you showed us.
Yeah?
Yeah, I like it.
Okay, yeah, so I showed you guys how to color it. I'm not gonna show you how to make it. You guys gotta figure out how to put all these conditionals together, okay? Make it so the user can do a lot of different things. I wanna be able to look at all my to-dos. I wanna look at my to-dos that are done, my to-dos that are not done, my to-dos that are past their expiration date, stuff like that, okay? I want the users to only be able to see their own to-dos, okay? You should not be able to see someone else's to-dos, right? So when we do list right here, can we just select all these to-dos? Does this SQL work on line 27? Kinda, but it's actually quite stupid because we're gonna be sharing everyone's to-dos, right? So we gotta do some conditional logic here. Does anyone have any questions? Does anyone want to see, I don't know what else to say.
How do you, so explain what you just said there, I wasn't totally following. You're saying that's going to print everyone's to-dos. What's wrong with that? Or you mean just if sometimes you want to show just undone or?
So if I log into my Facebook account, right, and I look at my messages, I expect to see only my messages. I don't want to see anyone else's messages, right? So if, for example, this is a real app someone's going to use to create their to-dos. Right now, if I log in and I execute this command list, I will see every single person's to-dos.
Put a layer above that. It's essentially like
Yes.
user ID, put the user ID, match it with the. Okay.
Correct. It's like an infinite number of things that you guys can do to make this more difficult, okay? So I'm just gonna leave it at this. I feel like this is a good starting point for you guys. We got a to-do list running in about 63 lines of code. It's not perfect. It's got a lot of things it could do more, okay? So we're gonna end the lecture here and you guys take a break and then take a quick break and then you guys get going on this project.